In the lively city of Osogbo, there was a grand palace with golden towers and colorful gardens. King Obinna, the ruler of the city, was known for his kindness and wisdom. His daughter, Princess Chioma, was loved by everyone for her bravery and gentle heart. She had a special gift for solving mysteries and helping those in need. One day, a mysterious letter arrived at the palace. It was written in strange symbols and had a red seal. The letter said that someone close to King Obinna was planning a betrayal. Princess Chioma knew she had to act quickly to protect her father and their kingdom. Princess Chioma started investigating. She talked to everyone in the palace, from the cooks to the guards. She noticed that some people were acting strangely. The royal advisor, Mr. Nwoy, seemed especially nervous. He was always in a hurry and avoided eye contact with Chioma. One evening, as the sun set over the city, Chioma overheard Mr. Nwoy talking in hushed tones with a shadowy figure in the palace garden. The figure wore a hood and spoke in a low voice. Chioma couldn't hear the entire conversation but caught words like treason and secret plan. Determined to find out more, Chioma followed Mr. Nwoy to a hidden room in the palace. Inside, she found maps and documents that revealed a plot to overthrow King Obinna. The documents showed that Mr. Nwoy was planning to make a deal with enemies of the kingdom to take over the palace. Chioma knew she needed help. She went to her most trusted friend, Eniola, who was a brave soldier in the palace guard. Eniola was shocked but agreed to help. Together, they decided to gather more evidence and figure out how to stop Mr. Nwoy. The next day, Princess Chioma and Eniola began their plan. They sneaked into Mr. Nwoy's office while he was away and searched for more clues. They found a hidden drawer with a letter detailing the exact time and place for the betrayal to occur. Chioma and Eniola decided to set up a trap. They informed the palace guards and asked them to be ready. That night, they hid in the shadows near the palace gates, waiting for the right moment. As the clock struck midnight, Mr. Nwoy and his accomplices arrived at the gates with a group of armed men. Chioma and Eniola watched as they prepared to enter the palace. With a signal from Chioma, the guards sprang into action, surrounding the traitors. A fierce battle broke out. Chioma fought bravely alongside the guards, and Eniola held off the enemies. In the chaos, Chioma confronted Mr. Nwoy. He was angry and desperate, but Chioma remained calm. "You won't get away with this," Chioma said firmly. "We have all the evidence we need to stop you." Mr. Nwoy was captured and taken away. The palace was safe once again. King Obinna praised Chioma for her courage and quick thinking. The kingdom celebrated their victory with a grand feast, and everyone rejoiced. But the story didn't end there. Chioma felt uneasy. She wondered if there were more secrets hidden in the palace. She decided to keep a watchful eye and continue her investigations, knowing that the safety of her kingdom depended on her vigilance. As days went by, Chioma and Eniola became closer friends. They spent their time solving smaller mysteries around the city, bringing peace and joy to the people. Chioma learned that being a princess wasn't just about wearing beautiful dresses and attending royal events. It was about protecting her people and making sure justice was served. One day, while exploring an old part of the palace, Chioma stumbled upon a hidden room she had never seen before. The room was filled with ancient scrolls and artifacts. Among them was a strange-looking box with intricate carvings. Chioma's heart raced with excitement. She felt that this discovery might hold the key to even greater mysteries. With Eniola by her side, Chioma opened the box. Inside was an old map and a mysterious key. The map had strange symbols and led to a place outside the city. Chioma knew that this was a new adventure waiting to unfold. Determined to find out what the map led to, Chioma and Eniola prepared for their journey. They packed supplies and set off towards the location marked on the map. As they left the city, they couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. Their adventure took them through dense forests and across winding rivers. The landscape was beautiful but also full of hidden dangers. They encountered wild animals, tricky terrain, and ancient puzzles that tested their skills and bravery. Finally, after many days of travel, they reached a hidden temple marked on the map. The temple was ancient and covered in vines. Inside, they found a series of clues that led them to a hidden chamber. In the center of the chamber was a pedestal with an ornate chest. Chioma carefully opened the chest and discovered a collection of precious jewels and a royal crown. The crown had a note attached, explaining that it belonged to an ancient ruler who had hidden it to protect it from falling into the wrong hands. Chioma and Eniola returned to Osogbo with the crown and jewels. They presented them to King Obinna, who was amazed by their discovery. The king thanked them for their bravery and loyalty, and the entire kingdom celebrated their return. With the crown safely restored and their adventure behind them, Chioma and Eniola knew that their work was far from over. The kingdom was safe for now, but they understood that there would always be new mysteries and challenges to face. And so, Princess Chioma continued her journey as a wise and courageous leader, ready to protect her kingdom and uncover the secrets of the past. With Eniola by her side, she faced every challenge with strength and determination, knowing that each adventure brought her closer to understanding her role as a princess and the true meaning of leadership. With the crown restored and the kingdom celebrating their return, Princess Chioma and Eniola were hailed as heroes. The city of Osogbo buzzed with excitement and joy. Yet, despite the festive atmosphere, Chioma couldn't shake the feeling that something was still amiss. One evening, as Chioma was walking through the palace gardens, she noticed an unusual shadow moving behind the trees. The shadow seemed familiar, but when she tried to get a closer look, it vanished. Chioma's curiosity was piqued. She decided to investigate further. The next morning, Chioma and Eniola visited the palace archives to research any historical references that might explain the recent events. Among the dusty scrolls and ancient books, they found a mention of a forgotten legend about a secret society that had once protected a hidden power in Osogbo. The legend spoke of a powerful artifact called the Heart of Osogbo, which was believed to grant immense power to its possessor. The artifact had been hidden away long ago to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. Chioma felt a shiver run down her spine. Could this be the reason behind the strange events and the recent betrayal attempt? Determined to uncover more, Chioma and Eniola embarked on a new quest to find the heart of Osogbo. They began by visiting the oldest inhabitants of the city, hoping to gather any old stories or clues about the artifact's location. Their search led them to a wise old woman named Mama Kemi, who lived on the outskirts of the city. Mama Kemi was known for her deep knowledge of Osogbo's history and folklore. When Chioma and Eniola explained their quest, Mama Kemi's eyes widened with recognition. The heart of Osogbo is no ordinary artifact, Mama Kemi said. It is said to be hidden in a place that holds the city's deepest secrets. The path to it is guarded by challenges that test the heart and spirit of those who seek it. Mama Kemi handed them an old pendant with a carved symbol that matched one on the ancient map they had found earlier. "This pendant will guide you," she said. "But be wary. There are those who would do anything to seize its power." With renewed determination, Chioma and Eniola set out on their journey, following the pendant's guidance. Their path took them to the outskirts of Osogbo, where they encountered treacherous terrain and dark forests. One night, as they were setting up camp, they heard rustling noises around them. Eniola, ever alert, went to investigate and found tracks that led away from their campsite. It seemed they were being followed. Chioma and Eniola decided to track the followers, hoping to uncover who was monitoring their movements. The tracks led them to a hidden cave. Inside, they found a group of masked figures who were discussing their plans in whispers. Chioma recognized one of them as an ally of Mr. Nwoi, the traitor. It appeared that the conspiracy was far from over, and these new enemies were after the same artifact they were seeking. Chioma and Eniola quietly retreated and decided to confront these figures later. They continued their journey, guided by the pendant, and eventually reached an ancient ruin deep in the forest. The ruins were covered in ivy and looked like they hadn't been touched for centuries. As they explored the ruins, they discovered a series of intricate puzzles and traps designed to protect the heart of Osogbo. With each puzzle they solved, they felt a sense of accomplishment, but also a growing sense of danger. The challenges seemed to become more difficult and dangerous as they got closer to the artifact. One particularly tricky puzzle involved a set of rotating stone pillars that had to be aligned in a specific pattern. As they worked on the puzzle, they triggered a hidden mechanism that caused the room to begin filling with water. Chioma and Eniola had to solve the puzzle quickly to avoid being trapped. After narrowly escaping the flooding room, they reached a chamber with a pedestal in the center. On the pedestal was a chest covered in ancient runes. The heart of Osogbo was within reach, but Chioma felt a strange sense of foreboding. As they approached the chest, the masked figures from the cave appeared, having followed them. A fierce battle ensued. Chioma and Eniola fought valiantly, but the enemies were relentless. Just when it seemed they might be overwhelmed, the pendant around Chioma's neck began to glow. The light from the pendant created a protective barrier around Chioma and Eniola, driving the masked figures away. Exhausted but victorious, Chioma opened the chest and revealed the heart of Osogbo. It was a beautiful, glowing gem with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with energy. Chioma and Eniola knew they had to return to the palace with the heart of Osogbo, but the battle was far from over. The masked figures were still out there, and they knew that there were likely more threats to come. As they made their way back to Osogbo, Chioma reflected on the challenges they had faced and the bravery they had shown. She felt a deep sense of responsibility to protect the heart of Osogbo and ensure it was used for the good of the kingdom. The journey back was long and tiring, but Chioma and Eniola were determined to complete their mission. They knew that the safety of their city depended on their success, and they were ready for whatever came next. As Princess Chioma and Eniola neared the city of Osogbo, they remained vigilant. The journey had been perilous, and they knew the threats were far from over. The masked figures who had tried to seize the heart of Osogbo were likely still pursuing them. As night fell, they entered the city quietly, avoiding the main gates to prevent drawing attention. They made their way to a secret entrance into the palace, a hidden tunnel known only to a few trusted individuals. They hoped to sneak in and present the heart of Osogbo to King Obinna without alarming anyone. However, their plans were thwarted. As they approached the tunnel entrance, they found it blocked by fallen debris. Someone had discovered their secret route and attempted to seal it off. Chioma and Eniola had no choice but to find another way into the palace. They decided to scale the palace walls, using the shadows of the night to their advantage. With Eniola's skill and Chioma's quick thinking, they managed to climb over the walls and slip into the palace grounds. Inside, they found that the palace was in a state of high alert. Guards patrolled the halls, and there were whispers of unrest among the servants. Chioma and Eniola realized that the news of the conspiracy had likely spread, and the palace was now under heightened security. They made their way to the royal chambers, where they hoped to find King Obinna. As they approached the king's room, they were stopped by a guard. Chioma used her charm and quick thinking to persuade the guard to let them pass, claiming they had urgent news for the king. Inside the royal chambers, Chioma and Eniola were greeted by King Obinna. They presented the heart of Osogbo and explained their journey, the the battles they had faced, and the masked figures who had tried to take the artifact. King Obinna listened intently, his face a mix of concern and admiration. "You have done a great service to our kingdom," he said. "But we must be cautious. The masked figures are a threat, and their intentions are unclear. We need to prepare for any danger that may come." The king immediately summoned his advisors and military leaders. A strategy meeting was held to discuss the threat and plan their next steps. Chioma and Eniola provided valuable insights, having faced the masked figures directly. They suggested increasing security around the palace and fortifying the city's defenses. As the meeting concluded, the king turned to Chioma. "You have shown great bravery and wisdom," he said. "We must ensure the heart of Osogbo is protected and used wisely. I am entrusting you with this responsibility." Chioma accepted the responsibility with a heavy heart. She knew the artifact was powerful, and its protection was crucial for the kingdom's safety. The heart of Osogbo was placed in a secure vault within the palace, and only a few trusted individuals knew its location. In the days that followed, the palace was on high alert. Guards were stationed at every entrance, and patrols were increased throughout the city. Chioma and Eniola continued to monitor the situation, but the masked figures remained elusive. One evening, while Chioma was inspecting the palace's defenses, she received a mysterious message. The message was written in the same strange symbols as the letter from before. It warned of a new plot against the king and hinted at a secret alliance with powerful enemies outside the kingdom. Chioma and Eniola took the message to King Obinna. The king was concerned and decided to investigate further. He ordered a covert operation to gather information about the potential alliance and the new threats. As the investigation unfolded, Chioma discovered that the masked figures were not acting alone. They had connections with other powerful factions that sought to destabilize the kingdom. The conspiracy was much larger than they had initially thought. One night, as Chioma and Eniola were on patrol, they noticed a figure lurking near the palace walls. The figure seemed to be trying to communicate with someone inside the palace. Chioma and Eniola followed the figure discreetly and discovered that it was a spy working for the enemies. The spy was caught and interrogated. He revealed that a major attack was being planned for the upcoming festival, a time when the city would be crowded and vulnerable. The enemies planned to use the chaos of the festival to launch their assault and seize control of the heart of Osogbo. Chioma knew they had to act quickly. She and Eniola worked with the palace guards and city officials to prepare for the attack. They devised a plan to protect the heart of Osogbo and ensure the safety of the citizens during the festival. The festival day arrived, and the city was filled with excitement and celebration. Colorful banners and decorations adorned the streets, and the air was filled with music and laughter. But beneath the surface, there was a sense of tension and readiness. Chioma and Eniola were stationed at key locations throughout the city, keeping a watchful eye for any signs of trouble. As the festival progressed, the masked figures and their allies made their move. The attack was swift and ruthless. A fierce battle erupted in the city's streets. Chioma and Eniola fought valiantly alongside the guards, defending the palace and protecting the heart of Osogbo. The masked figures were determined and dangerous, but Chioma's bravery and leadership inspired the defenders to hold their ground. The battle raged on, and the city was filled with the sounds of combat. Chioma and Eniola faced many challenges, but they remained resolute. They knew that the fate of the kingdom depended on their success. Just when it seemed that the battle might be lost, a surprise ally appeared. It was Mama Kemi, the wise old woman who had given Chioma the pendant. She arrived with a group of her followers, wielding ancient magic that helped turn the tide of the battle. With Mama Kemi's help, the enemies were driven back, and the heart of Osogbo was secured. The city began to calm down, and the festival's festive atmosphere slowly returned. The masked figures were defeated, and their plans were thwarted. Chioma and Eniola were hailed as heroes once again. The city celebrated their victory, and King Obinna praised their courage and resilience. The heart of Osogbo was safe, and the kingdom was secure for now. But Chioma knew that the threats were not over. There were still many secrets to uncover and challenges to face. She and Eniola were ready for whatever came next, knowing that their journey was far from finished. With the battle won and the heart of Osogbo secured, the city of Osogbo returned to a state of cautious celebration. The festival resumed, though the joyful mood was tempered by the recent events. Princess Chioma and Eniola took a moment to catch their breath and reflect on the trials they had faced. Despite the victory, Chioma couldn't shake the feeling that the peace was only temporary. The masked figures had been defeated, but the conspiracy against the kingdom was far from over. She sensed that there were deeper, more sinister forces at work. One evening, as Chioma was reviewing reports from the palace guards, a trusted messenger arrived with urgent news. There had been a sighting of suspicious activity near the city's outer borders. The messenger mentioned that a group of strangers had been seen meeting with some of the city's outlying villagers under the cover of darkness. Chioma and Eniola decided to investigate. They traveled to the outskirts of Osogbo, where they found a secluded spot where the strangers had been seen. They discovered traces of a recent meeting, footprints, discarded items, and remnants of a campfire. It was clear that the strangers had been plotting something, but their exact intentions were unclear. As they continued their investigation, Chioma and Eniola encountered an old man named Baba Olu, who lived in a small hut near the edge of the forest. Baba Olu was known for his wisdom and knowledge of local legends. They asked him if he had seen anything unusual recently. Baba Olu looked troubled. "The strangers you speak of are not ordinary travelers," he said. "They are known as the Whisperers, a group believed to be linked to dark forces from beyond our lands. They are rumored to seek an ancient power hidden in the depths of the forest." Chioma's heart raced. The Whisperers sounded like a dangerous group, and their interest in ancient power could mean trouble for Osogbo. Baba Olu continued, "There is an old tale about a hidden shrine deep in the forest, said to be the resting place of a powerful relic. If the Whisperers are after it, they must be stopped." Determined to prevent any further threats, Chioma and Eniola set out to find the hidden shrine. Baba Olu provided them with a map and some guidance on navigating the dense forest. The journey was arduous, with treacherous paths and unpredictable weather. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they encountered strange occurrences, disappearing trails, eerie sounds, and unsettling visions. It was as if the forest itself was trying to protect the shrine from intruders. After several days of challenging travel, they arrived at the entrance to the hidden shrine. The entrance was concealed by thick vines and ancient symbols carved into stone. Chioma and Eniola carefully made their way inside, guided by the map and their instincts. Inside the shrine, they found a series of intricate puzzles and traps designed to protect the relic. The air was heavy with an ancient magic, and every step they took seemed to resonate with the power of the place. They worked together to solve the puzzles, their skills and knowledge complementing each other perfectly. As they reached the final chamber, they discovered an altar with a glowing relic. The relic was encased in a protective barrier of light. Chioma and Eniola approached cautiously, knowing that removing the relic could trigger a trap or unleash a powerful force. Just as they were about to retrieve the relic, they heard voices approaching. The Whisperers had found their way to the shrine. Chioma and Eniola had to act quickly. They devised a plan to protect the relic and confront the Whisperers. The Whisperers entered the chamber. Their leader, a tall figure shrouded in darkness, demanded the relic. The tension in the air was palpable. Chioma and Eniola stood their ground, determined to protect the ancient power from falling into the wrong hands. A fierce battle erupted in the shrine. The Whisperers were skilled and ruthless, but Chioma and Eniola fought with courage and determination. The relic's protective barrier pulsed with energy, adding to the chaos of the battle. During the fight, the relic's light began to flicker. Chioma realized that the barrier was weakening and that the Whisperers might succeed if they didn't act fast. She and Eniola fought their way to the altar, using their combined strength to hold off the Whisperers and maintain the relic's protection. In the midst of the battle, Chioma noticed a strange pattern in the relic's light. It seemed to respond to her presence, and she felt a connection to its power. She realized that the relic was not just a source of power, but a beacon for those who were worthy to wield it. With renewed determination, Chioma reached out and touched the relic. The light intensified, creating a powerful shield that repelled the Whisperers and drove them back. The leader of the Whisperers, enraged, vowed that they would not give up and that the relic would be theirs. The Whisperers retreated, their plans thwarted for now. Chioma and Eniola secured the relic and began their journey back to Osogbo. The battle had been intense, but they had succeeded in protecting the shrine and the powerful artifact. As they made their way through the forest, Chioma reflected on the events. She knew that the Whisperers would not give up easily and that the safety of Osogbo depended on their continued vigilance. The ancient power they had protected was a symbol of hope and strength, and it was up to them to ensure it was used for the good of the kingdom. The journey back to Osogbo was filled with a sense of urgency. Chioma and Eniola were determined to return the relic to the palace and prepare for any future threats. The Whisperers' defeat was only a temporary victory, and they knew that the true battle was far from over. Chioma and Eniola returned to Osogbo with the ancient relic secured. The city welcomed them with relief and gratitude, but the atmosphere remained tense. The Whisperers had shown their persistence, and Chioma knew they would have to remain vigilant. In the palace, King Obinna and his advisors were eager to hear about the journey and the relic. Chioma and Eniola recounted their adventure, detailing the hidden shrine, the fierce battle, and the Whisperers' threat. The king praised their bravery and commitment to protecting the kingdom. King Obinna decided to hold a special ceremony to honor Chioma and Eniola. The relic was placed in a newly fortified vault, and its location was kept secret to ensure its safety. The ceremony was a celebration of not only their victory, but also the unity and strength of Osogbo. However, the battle was far from over. The Whisperers, although defeated in their initial attempt, were regrouping and planning their next move. Chioma, Eniola, and the king knew that the kingdom must prepare for any possible threats. To address this, they initiated a series of defensive measures. The city's fortifications were strengthened, and a network of spies and informants was established to keep an eye on any suspicious activity. The citizens were educated about the potential dangers and encouraged to stay alert. One night, as Chioma and Eniola were on patrol, they received news that a group of Whisperers had been spotted near the city's outskirts. They quickly mobilized the palace guards and set out to investigate. They discovered that the Whisperers were attempting to infiltrate the city disguised as merchants. With swift action, Chioma and Eniola apprehended the intruders and prevented any harm from coming to the city. The Whisperers were interrogated, and their plans were revealed. They had been seeking the relic to harness its power for dark purposes, but their schemes were thwarted once again. The kingdom of Osogbo was safe, and the threat from the Whisperers was diminished. Chioma and Eniola's bravery and quick thinking had protected the realm and ensured the safety of its people. The story of their adventure became a symbol of courage and resilience. As peace settled back into the kingdom, Chioma took a moment to reflect on their journey. She realized that their trials had taught them valuable lessons about bravery, wisdom, and the importance of standing firm against adversity.